Last week, I posted a video on the concept of entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship and how it's quite a situation in that sector where more than 90% of startups fail. While some of you liked the video, there were a few who really felt I was a bit too hard, and some of you criticized me, which is I'm welcoming any kind of criticism, but I thought it was important for me to post another video to kind of present some more details based on some of the points that I got on my video. So one of the first things that the people who didn't agree with my concept or my point of view was that failure is a need to succeed. You need to fail a few times, you need to fail a number of times, and then you get to success. How else do you get to success, right? You keep failing and you keep failing and you keep failing. And by the way, there are lots of mentors and inspirational speakers and motivational speakers who would kind of encourage you to keep failing until you succeed. Well, the idea is good, but the problem with the idea is you're not failing at your own expense. You're not doing all of these experiments on your own expense. You're doing all of this at the expense of an investor, at the expense of somebody else's money. So how do you think that's right? And how on earth do you justify such a thing? It's like telling someone, I want to study in Harvard, I don't have the money for it, and you need to pay for my tuition fees, my expenses, etc., and I'll get into Harvard after that. And whether I graduate or not is not important. You get bragging rights to tell everybody that you put me in Harvard. That's it. Now, you need to understand that failing could be good and is nice if you're the one who's bearing the bill for it, who's footing the bill for it, not someone else. Because then the only thing that you're developing in yourself is a very irresponsible behavior, a very laid-back approach, because you have nothing to worry about. You have nothing to lose. You can keep experimenting and experimenting, and whether you succeed or fail does not really matter to you. So you're not being driven to success in this way. You're actually driving yourself just to get lucky. That's it. You're not driving yourself to success. Failure at your own expense is great. And I'm glad that your spirit, or this kind of spirit of entrepreneurship, was not there in the 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, and maybe even the 20th century, or else we would never have had some of these great inventions and discoveries that we are enjoying today. Just think if Thomas Edison were to follow some of your concepts of entrepreneurship and start developing a telephone based on somebody else's expense. Just think for a minute, if Newton was sitting under that tree and thinking, okay, I figured out this apple falling down and I got gravity. Now let me find the highest bidder and then I'm going to make this into something. All of the famous inventions and discoveries that you've known in history, all of these inventors, these so-called entrepreneurs, the real entrepreneurs, the pioneers of entrepreneurship, did it at their own expense, not at other people's expense. So your concept of fail, fail, fail to succeed is wrong, because it just tries to make you lucky, not succeed. The second point that everybody was making, was the ones who didn't agree with my video, was that VC funds have a lot of money, so they just throw away this money so that they can enjoy some success. So typically, you are right, actually. Most of the VCs, when I talk to them, the big ones, their concept of success is, well, I'll invest in 50 startups. I'm sure 2 or 3 of them should work. Now, unfortunately, that's not the concept every investor follows. That could be a concept for a few, and that's how we end up with something like SoftBank investing in WeWork, which goes from 40 billion something down to 8 billion, right? It does not justify anything. And by the way, if it's VC fund or angel investor funds or your family funds, you're supposed to be responsible about it, not careless. Whether somebody has money to throw or not is not the point. The point is, how serious are you about that money? You said my video is killing the spirit of entrepreneurship. No, I'm not. I'm encouraging entrepreneurship that is more focused, that is more directed, that's more goal-oriented. I want people to experiment on their own time, on their own expense. Don't rush into making your ideas into business. Make sure your businesses are good. Make sure your ideas are correct. Entrepreneurs have to understand that they should not just be about being creative or innovative. They have to learn to be responsible. Successful entrepreneurs are those who are responsible. You cannot just be creative and innovative and that's your claim to fame. No, you have to be responsible and mature. They should not just focus on disruption. They should also focus on market economics and facts. Do you know the number one reason of failure for most entrepreneurs? Number one reason is the fact that whatever you launch was never needed in the market. The marketplace did not need it. There were no customers for it. And you launched it with a lot of pomp and joy. And guess what? Nobody needed it. You have to realize entrepreneurship is the only hope left for modern economy for new job creation. More jobs are being created by this industry. And the more entrepreneurs fail, the more startups shut down, the more jobs are lost. Just think for a minute. For 1 or 2 or 5 founders to succeed and have a heavy paycheck and an equity to talk about, there are maybe 1,000 or 10,000 or 100,000 employees that work in these startups that get their lives ruined when those startups shut down. Because all those pay packages and everything are gone once those startups shut down. You have to know that you're contributing to depression. My video, my message is to encourage entrepreneurs and VCs to be more responsible. I run a VC fund. I own a VC fund. My success ratio is more than 80%. Why? Because that's how I choose my startups. The ones that didn't succeed actually did not listen to what I told them. If they did, they would have had a better chance at success. You need to know that the entrepreneurship concept is something that I am encouraging, that I am promoting. I teach it in my lectures and talks, but I'm disappointed to see some of the ideas that come out that don't have a commercial model, that don't have a revenue model, that have no idea how to go to market, and they're raising millions of dollars. They're doomed to fail. It's not like I'm trying to imagine something and forecast something out of a magic ball. It's just doomed to fail. Look at some of them. Your revenues are at $20,000 a month. Your burn rate is at $100,000 or more a month. And your valuation is $5 million. How on earth will you succeed? You need to start being responsible. I want entrepreneurs to be more responsible, far more responsible than what they are today. I hope this clears out the message, and I'd love to hear all your opinions and comments about it. Feel free to criticize. That's how I get better.